Hello again, this is Kathy and Rosie Vesperina. So in the last video we rode to Soldiers Beach to have a look and see if we could find some whales, which we didn't, but it was still lovely to see the beach. I think I mentioned that I'd never been to Soldiers Beach before, even though I've lived on the coast for about 30 years, so that was a bit funny. So a beautiful beach. And now we're going to head home. This is the last part of this larger ride. We're going to head to where my grandbaby Mia lives and drop her off, and then we're going to head back home again. Keep in mind I still actually don't know where I am, and so I am just following Mia to get to her place, and once we get to her place then I will know where I am, I think. So it feels like that we're going back in the direction that we came in. We're just pulling over here so that we can all catch up. Fee is a little bit behind us, so we just want to make sure we don't lose anybody. Mia uses her bright coloured backpack because she likes that it feels a bit secure for her, but also because it's bright and colourful, it helps other people see her, so she likes wearing the backpack, which I think is a great idea. I have flower stickers over my helmet because my helmet is black and my jacket is black and my pants are black, and so even though Rosie's a very bright red colour, I put some stickers on my helmet and a little bit of reflective tape so that people can see me a little bit better. I'm going to try and add some music into this clip as well. I'm not sure how well that will work. I'm only learning, as I've said before, in making these videos, but I can't talk for the whole 20 minutes that the video is, so I figured I'll talk a little bit, I'll add a little bit of music, and then I'll talk a little bit and see whether that's appealing to watch. It's still lovely and flat around here, which makes for really easy riding for us. Only a couple of little hills here and there. I was filming this on, I think the setting was ultra wide on the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro, and then the other video when we arrived at Soldiers Beach, it made it quite, you could see that big arc that happens when you use those ultra wide lenses, so I'm unsure about whether I want to go back to just the wide lens for filming, because I think it doesn't sort of distort it as much. At this point I still don't really know where I am because of my spatial challengeness. Is that even a word, challengeness? I'm not sure. But it's lovely with lots of bushland around. This was a little bit of an interesting intersection. It's like a T intersection, but it T'd into two lanes, so I was a bit confused by it. But anyway, we made it round. this area is only a 50 kilometre zone, and so that makes it a little bit easier, not easier for riding, but you can take things in a little bit more because you're going that little bit slower. I always find when I'm driving my car it's harder to stay at 50 k's, and I often accidentally sneak up a little bit, but on the bike it's quite easy to stick to the 50 kilometres an hour and to take in all of the views around. When I was thinking about buying Rosie Vesperina, there were a few different options. There was a 50cc, this 150cc, and then a 300cc. And I knew that the 50cc wouldn't have had enough grunt for me. I'm a bigger person, and so everything that I had read had indicated that let's just stop and go over this bridge. I love riding over bridges. I do not know why, but I love it, and I love that you're able to look out and see the water on both sides. Beautiful. I don't know which bridge it is, but it's beautiful. Anyway, back to that story. I knew that I didn't want the 50cc because it wouldn't have had enough grunt. The 150 seemed like a good idea, and then the 300 seemed like it might have been maybe too much for me. And when I was talking to one of the people in one of the shops, because I went to a lot of different shops before I purchased, they had suggested that perhaps the 300 was too much, that I didn't need that much for me. But I think now I probably would have liked the 300, but never mind. Now, we have dropped Mare. I cut that bit out for privacy reasons, obviously. I didn't want people to see where she lived. So now I've left her at her house, and now I'm heading back home, and Fee is behind me. I now know this route and this road because obviously I've driven to there lots of times before, and one of my other children live in that same area. So now we are heading towards Wyong on the Pacific Highway. It's around 70 kilometres an hour in this section, but I don't have to worry about my lack of sense of direction now. Although I will say it does feel and look different when you're riding on a bike as opposed to a car, which may sound really weird, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm kind of seeing more and I'm more immersed in the environment when I'm on Rosie, but it certainly just feels that little bit different. Coming up to Wyong Hospital on our right. We have two main hospitals on the Central Coast, the one in Gosford and this one, and then we have some smaller private hospitals, one that I live near in North Gosford, and there's another one down in Woy Woy area, and potentially a couple of others. I'm not 100% sure. So past the hospital and now continuing on the 70k zone towards Wyong. Many years ago I worked in Wyong, so it's nice to pass through there. all these trees are just lovely, aren't they? Nothing like being out in well, it's not really nature, is it? Because we're on the road and we're in suburbia a bit, but I still love being around the trees. I think to our right is the area Wadalba, I think is the name, and to the left is obviously the infrastructure to support that big area, you know, Coles and I think a chemist and a couple of other shops. So you can buy your groceries and what have you. Bottle shop on the right there, because just in case you need a little wine on a Friday night after a big week of work. I am loving the neck mount for the DJI Osmo Action 5. I feel like you just get the right angle. You get some of Rosie's face, so you can see, you know, how fast we're going. You can see the route on the Garmin, but you also get to see the area where you're riding and the landscape and what have you. So really happy with it. I struggled with trying to put a mount on the helmet. I felt I had bought a couple. I had the claw one, which I used a couple of times, which was okay, and then I had brought one that you stick on, but I just couldn't quite bring myself to stick it on. Now Fee needed some petrol, so we're going to turn in here to this petrol station. It's a nice big one with plenty of space, and it's not generally chock-a-block, so makes it a bit easier. The one thing about riding Rosie Vespa is that the price of petrol is so much cheaper than the car. I drive a Subaru XV, or I can't remember what, I think it's called a Crosstrek in other countries, and it costs me over $100 to fill it, but Rosie costs me about $12 to fill. Obviously it's a small tank. I think my tank is 8 litres or 7 or 8 litres, but that 7 or 8 litres goes a really long way. I'm really surprised. So we just stop here and let Fee fill up her tank, and then we will head off again. We stopped here for a little while because we couldn't get the petrol plug open using the key on her bike, her Honda CB125. Eventually we got it though, so we were right to head off. I feel like I'm sitting here for a long time though. Maybe I should have edited this little section out. And away we go, back out where we came, to the traffic lights. I like to leave a bit of distance between myself and the car in front, just in case somebody rear ends me. That's what they taught us in the learner course, so I try to take on board everything that I learn. I have a few classes coming up soon that I'm going to go to, riding classes. They're all in Sydney. I've got a couple with the Stay Upright group who I did it, the last one with, excuse me, with Paul, which I really loved. And then I've got one coming up in July with Heart, which are I think they're part of the Honda group, and so it's a Honda training, but they do scooters as well. So I think that's kind of like a roadcraft course, which I'm really looking forward to. So now continuing towards Wyong. We haven't quite got there yet. This is still the Pacific Highway along here. What a beautiful day. So lucky. On our left there is, I think, the Wyong Golf Club. So if you feel like a round of golf, that's your spot. I have no idea how much it costs to play golf. I've only ever played golf once or twice in my life, and that was when I was at uni, and I was terrible at it. My ball landed in the water more times than it landed in a hole. So not my strongest sport. Up at this next intersection we're going to turn left, and then we are in the Wyong area. I think there's a club there as well on the corner. Round we go. Still on the Pacific Highway, so we followed the Pacific Highway all the way down the coast so far. This is a 70k zone, but when we get a little bit closer to the actual main part of Wyong, it turns into a 50k zone. Right along following us on the left is the train line that takes you to Sydney. So it goes Wyong, then Tuggerah, and continues on. You can see the orange bit that comes up on the Garmin. That's just telling me that we're about to change into the 50k zone. And now we are heading up through Tuggerah, actually, up to a very big intersection. So we've been through Wyong. Up ahead will be Tuggerah train station on our left, and then a big intersection where you can go straight ahead, left or right. Left takes us to Shelley Beach area, and Baddo Bay. Right takes us to Westfield Tuggerah, and you can continue on to get on the freeway down to Sydney or right up to Newcastle. And straight ahead, which is the way that we're going to go in a minute, takes us through Palmdale to Arimba, and we turn left to head to Arimba and towards home. And it's a lovely little stretch, and I love driving through this section, and I also like riding through it. Unfortunately, I did not change the battery on the camera, and so we won't see me riding all the way to home, and it cuts out when we're still in the very pretty part in Palmdale, but that's okay. The next video that I'll do, I'll try to make sure I change the battery a little bit more regularly. I only use one battery for the whole ride, whereas I had a spare one in my bag, but I just forgot to change it out. So we're heading now through that big intersection and up, heading towards Palmdale. It's only 60k through this area, so this little section's lovely to ride because, again, you're going slow-ish, and you can just enjoy the trees. It's a little bit windy, which I really enjoy as well. Not too windy, just enough. Look at that, it's beautiful. Beautiful and green, nice curves of the road. It's very relaxing to ride this area. So unfortunately we will cut off soon, but thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.